We feel that it's a right that minorities have under the 14th Amendment. It's an affirmative duty placed on the states to see that all citizens are treated equally. And we know that that's not happening in the state of California. And we're asking the federal courts to direct the agencies involved to make sure that all citizens of the state of California enjoy equal rights.
We call this press conference today for the purpose of first introducing our cause.
What kind of action are you seeking from the courts, Mr. Kaplan?
I think that's a kind of a question that Mr. Moten would have to answer.
What we're asking the federal court to do is to direct the state agencies involved in housing, education, employment, to do a long-range planning program to eliminate discrimination in California.
But not fast enough. There is improvement little by little as we travel around. I spent 4 days in Mississippi week before last, and to have over 200 black candidates and even a man that was defeated for the governor proves that we have made progress, but not as fast as we'd like to see it.
Mr. Kaplan, what is your reaction to the legislation?
Is busing strictly a racial issue, you believe then?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Because they don't want to integrate the schools. It's simple, very simple.
The NAACP has always fought its battle.
Official opinion as to what the headquarters. I haven't been in New York for several weeks. I just got out of the hospital a couple of weeks ago.
Do you have a personal opinion?
No, I haven't. I haven't been up.
What, in your opinion, therefore, would be a fair representation of blacks in these agencies?
That's what we're asking the agencies to come up with and present a plan that is reasonable to the federal courts. We do not plan to get ourselves uptight and tied in with setting down guidelines that someone can dissect and bisect anytime they get ready. We're asking these agencies to come up with a proposal of their own, and we're asking the federal government to direct them to do it.
What's going to be the major attack you're going to make on civil rights in 1972?
Well, the first thing, we want to get all of the laws that are on the books implemented. We want to see that we have fair employment, that the unions all open up, and that there's no discrimination against the black man. And we want to get equal education for all our young men and young women. When you take the new figures that just came out recently, the average earnings of the black workman in 1960 was 53% of what the white workman earned. And with the great strides that we made, we went up to 61% in 1970, a gain of 8%. But that wasn't as far and as fast as the white workman went, and that doesn't tell the story of the unemployment, which is at least 2 times as great in the adult black people and up to 40% in the youth. And on housing, there are statistics that show that the black workman pays from 11 to 25% more for inferior accommodations. And all of these things have to be rectified if we're going to have equality for all of our citizens. And these things are morally and legally wrong.
What can and should be done about it, therefore? I mean, should the federal government make efforts?
The federal government should make efforts to see that all laws are properly implemented. What would happen if people decided that they just didn't like the income tax law? We'd have the jails filled with these people behind the bars. What right of citizens to say that they're going to obey the income tax law, but they're not going to obey the desegregation and the busing law and the education and employment and all these other laws. This is not right, and these things are in the hands of the federal government and the white power structure, and they're the ones that got us into this mess, and it's up to them to get us out of this mess. And they've got a moral and legal obligation.
On your comment in regards to your position so far as the busing statement this morning, would you reiterate that for us, please, as to what your feelings are?
My feelings are that the busing situation is good enough for the white boys and girls. It should be good enough for the black boys and girls. And that the busing has been going on for decades, and there was never any complaints about busing when they were busing the white children, but the minute they started to get equality on busing black children in order to integrate schools, then and only then did hell break loose. And this is not fair or equitable. And I do a lot of traveling through the South during the winter, and I found that in the Southern, and particularly in Florida, that the white kids get the heated and air-conditioned new buses, and the black kids get the old dilapidated and no heat or no air-conditioned buses. And it's unfair right from the beginning.
Yes.